Thank you so much, Angela. That was an awesome introduction. Angela's the best. Well, welcome everybody. Hope you're having a great day. I certainly am. I'm very excited to be here. This is a really awesome conference. I love how people can come together around art and creativity. And I love how everybody's so open to share what they're doing to add value to the world. So today I'm going to talk about a couple things, but mainly my main focus is to get people to understand the power of video. And I'm going to give you some examples of how me and my partners have been using video to transform the lives of young people all around the world. So I'm going to share a presentation. During the presentation, if you all have any questions at any point, go ahead and type them up in the chat. We'll also have some Q&A at the end, but there may be some times when I can get into the chat and kind of see what you have going on, or there may be some interactive points. But I want this to be interactive. So I want you to ask questions. I want you to stop me if you have anything to say, any comments to add. But without further ado, let's get started. All right. Welcome again to the summit. Again, this is such an exciting time, and hopefully you are sharing this with somebody. And hopefully you take everything that you learn here and share it as well, because that's what we're here for. That's the power of digital, which we're going to be talking about today. So the title of this presentation is called The Future of Education. And I'm going to be talking about how we're engaging youth through storytelling and technology. And here's our agenda. I'll do a brief introduction. I'll tell you what WUTU means. I'm going to tell you about the Earth Project. I'm going to tell you about the power of video, video as a second language, which is the term that the people at We Make Movies and myself kind of coined in the process of working with students so heavily in video. True emotional connection, the power of teamwork, what is your why, and a little activity. All right. So the intro. My name is Bijan Machen. I am a fine artist, an educator, an investor, a community uplifter, and somebody who's just trying to do the best I can with the gifts God gave me. And when I was preparing for this presentation, I had to ask myself some reflexive questions and really say, what do I want to represent? What do I want to talk about? What have I learned? And I had to really just say, how did I get here? How did I get to this point where I'm speaking at an Apple conference about Final Cut Pro? I'm a kid born in Akron, Ohio, small town, and, always was creative, always was involved in sports and even played football up into high school and the college levels. But in college, I got a career-ending injury and was forced to make a decision to maybe try to come back one more year and play through that injury, or go ahead and take a job at a major tech company and just get involved with helping people in technology. I chose to do the latter, ended up taking that job, and it really built me up. It was at Microsoft, really built me up to understand business at a high level. But the most interesting thing I think about that time that I had at Microsoft was that I was able to start a 501c3 organization teaching kids how to code. It's called AthleTECH. So we combine athletics and technology, and I worked on bringing in some of my NFL, NBA friends, networks that I had, to create a really dynamic way of teaching of what I thought was kind of a boring subject. Because coding can be exciting, but it's not always necessarily the most entertaining thing to learn. So I said, let's find a way to make it entertaining and exciting so kids will want to code. So we brought in NFL and NBA players to teach kids how to code, and worked with Microsoft DPE to teach the students the kind of technical things, but they're learning it from somebody that they watch on TV every weekend. So their interest level is much higher. And I got really excited about that. And I realized that students need to be engaged in order to remember things, in order to care, and in order to really learn. They have to be doing something that is exciting to them. So if we can teach boring things in an exciting way, people are going to be better off and more enthusiastic to learn. So that was like the beginning of a small formula that led me into creating an entire company around art and education and entertainment, and trying to find ways to blend these worlds to create awesome experiences and products for people to enjoy. So that led me here to starting the We Uplift the World Foundation, which is a 501c3 organization. And what we're really focused on is sustainability. So not just creating like a one-off event that's going to be exciting for one day and then everything goes back to normal, but how can we do an event that would create sustainable change and lasting value in these people's lives? Or how can we do things that are taking place over a period of time through spaced repetition that will allow real skills to be ingrained in students and get them actually doing things actively? And I thought it was an interesting business model. I didn't really see a lot of companies doing this, and I didn't see a lot of artists or celebrities doing this. I saw artists and celebrities doing give back to school things, feed the homeless, clothing drives, and like turkey drives and things like that. But again, those are kind of like one-off things, which are really great to do. But what happens tomorrow when they have to eat dinner or they need clothes next week? How can they create something for themselves? Right. So I say, what if I could create a company to teach people how to fish instead of just giving them fish? You know, it's cool to give out fish too, but if I can teach people how to fish, teach young people how to fish and create opportunities for themselves using their talent, that's where the real magic is. So We Uplift the World Foundation was born. Why did I choose WUTW? That's the acronym, WUTW. I kind of look at it as, it's like my Nike, if you will. But it's a mantra for me. And it implies a couple things. It implies unity. So I understand from my background in sports and just from working with a lot of different people on different teams, teamwork is important, and nothing extremely valuable and significant happens with just one person. Okay, so we have to understand that to do anything great, anything of magnitude, it's going to take collaboration, communication, teamwork, and partnerships. So that's where the we came from. And then I said, what do we want to do? Well, we're going to use everything that we have, whoever we're collaborating with, we're going to use our resources to create a brighter future, to create a more uplifted world. And that was kind of the whole idea. This photo down here is a picture of our students from our first Earth project, which I'll tell you about in just a moment. It took place in Compton, California. It was a partnership with Sam Messman and Aubrey Mozino of We Make Movies and Apple Corporation. And students were learning how to make films on iPhones. So here's a description here. I'll read it for you real quick. Earth is an experiential education workshop series designed to inspire young people to take an active interest in local community gardens, cooking healthy food, art making, video storytelling, and creative business practices while using the latest mobile filmmaking technology, which is iPhones and iPads. So we said, we have to demystify this thing. And interestingly enough, this is something that was already happening with Sam and Aubrey through We Make Movies, but we wanted to make something that was a little bit more sustainable, that could last a little longer. Sam and Aubrey and We Make Movies were doing workshops for like a day or two in different places, and they were really successful and working really well. But we said, what if we could incorporate some other kind of competencies into the filmmaking so we can get students making films for a different purpose or learning different things that they need, life skills, through the guise or through the lens of filmmaking. So that's when we partnered together and said, well, let's take what you're doing with the smartphone studio and combine what I'm doing with the We Uplift the World Foundation and create something that can create sustainable change in these students' lives and be really fun and exciting, and be a kind of really memorable experience for them. And it was definitely that. It was a catalyst of change for everybody involved. And the interesting thing about this is the Earth Project started as a 5-week workshop series where we would get some students from a couple high schools in the area and take them on field trips every week to places like Los Angeles County Museum of Art, some local farms, restaurants where they would get lessons from chefs, like private lessons, cooking lessons and things. So we had this whole plan to kick off this really awesome workshop series in March of 2020. So Sam and I and Aubrey met with my partners and I in December of 2019. We put this thing together and we're ready to kick it off in March of 2020. The day we started, I think it was March 15th, is when we kicked everything off, and we were able to get the students their devices and show them the basics of shooting documentaries and vlogs and interviews. The next day is when the coronavirus pandemic happened. So the whole world changed, and we had actually just started this thing just in time because now the students were locked in their homes for a number of weeks, but we had devices in their hands. They had mobile filmmaking equipment. They had these smartphone studio, we make movies kits with everything that you need to make a movie, tripods, microphones, backpacks, and they had all that at home. So we said, well, let's just pivot. I think pivot's like the word of the year of 2020. We had to pivot and we had to figure out a way to take what was going to be an in-person workshop and make it something that could be more valuable than that, all virtually. So we extended the program and it ended up being 12 weeks because we realized students had a lot more free time on their hands and the students wanted to continue with us, beyond 5 weeks because they were loving what they were learning. They were learning how to become filmmakers, and all of them did. All of them became really great at editing, at sound, even in front of the camera. And some of them were shy, but by the end of it, we found out they were great on camera and really great actors and actresses. And some of them even decided to change their majors. Some of them really took what they had learned with us. And, something we do is we bring in industry experts and we tell kids to believe in themselves and believe that they can do it. But we show them people who are actually doing it in the field. So it's not just, oh, this is something you might be able to do one day in your wildest dreams. It's no, here's 2 or 3 people that are doing what you said you want to do. And they're going to come into our class on Zoom and tell you exactly how they did it and how you can do it for yourself. There's tremendous value in that. And students' eyes light up. Just hearing from an industry professional that they can do it too, it gives them so much hope. And a lot of these kids are coming from a place where it's not a lot of hope. Hope runs thin. And then when you got this time in life when everything is in question, everything was shut down, we were able to use video and iPhones to really be a beacon of light in their life and give them all an opportunity to share stories that were important and express themselves. They were making vlogs, they were telling stories that otherwise nobody else would have heard. And it kind of became therapeutic for a lot of them. And everybody let us know that it was a transformational experience. So this is something that we're continuing to do. So far, we started this in Compton, California. We also have worked with Chicago Public Schools, the Bronx, schools in Minnesota, Boys and Girls Clubs. We've worked with a number of Native American reservations in New Mexico, in St. Louis, Kansas, all these places. We're able to connect with students from wherever we are. So we'll do what we got to do to get devices to them. And we have curriculums developed, and each location or each group of students will have kind of a different focus, but basically they're all learning how to use film to share whatever it is that's important to them. And also we're telling them how to create a life that they want to see, right? And that's sustainable. So a couple of things that we realized during this time, and I've talked to you about a couple of them, but it's like experiential learning is way different than being in the classroom. We know that, and there's pros and cons to both. Video learning has to be combined with experiential learning to be really awesome, I'll say, because we found that students did not like virtual learning when it's just sitting in front of a computer screen. It gets kind of boring. I don't know too many people that like sitting in front of a computer screen for 8 hours at a time anyway. But what we had to do was give them something through video on screen in person, and then give them something to do after the camera goes off, after the laptop screen is closed. Let's give them something to put their hands on, something that they care about, and show them how to create videos that are going to allow them to do something different than what they're doing. Because that's what gets students excited, we realized, is newness, is difference. Show me how I can create something different than what's around me in my environment. And that's what we did by putting those iPhones in their hands. We got them to express sides of themselves that opened up new potentialities. We got them to push themselves. Another huge thing that we learned is really important during this program is this idea of professional accountability. So we're able to keep track of the students' videos because we gave them an assignment every week, and we have iCloud Dropboxes or different things for them to submit it. And we kept a log to see who's doing what, and we're able to hold the students accountable. So we were able to say, did you do this? Why didn't you do it? Why didn't you do it on time? And what can we do to make sure you get that done next time? Taking that inventory of accountability, it made us more responsible and accountable as educators, but it also made the students want to do their work more because they know we're going to be checking for it. And they know we're going to call them out if they don't do something that they said they were going to do. Because that's all accountability is doing what you say you're going to do, doing what you agree to, or letting people know if you can't. And a lot of the students, we realized the growth and maturity and responsibility over these 3 months that we were working with them, because of these accountability exercises that we were doing, making sure they're taking care of equipment, sending things in on time. We used video as an entry point to teach so many different things. One of my most fun classes we did was a cooking class where we sent organic vegetables, kits of organic vegetables with cucumbers, carrots, lettuce, all kind of stuff to the students' homes. And then we did a cooking class live. So I had the ingredients, they all had the ingredients, and live on the spot, we're showing them how to make vegan wraps. We're showing them how to make fruit and grain bowls. These are kids who a lot of times their idea of a good lunch is some Jack in the Box or McDonald's. A lot of them had never had hummus and cucumbers before, but we're showing them that this is an alternative and an affordable alternative to what the options are there. Because Compton, for example, is a food desert. There's a huge lack of healthy food, healthy grocery stores, and fresh food markets in this area. But the most interesting thing we found out through this process was that Compton actually has some of the most fertile soil in America for growing food. It's just not being utilized. We partnered with this master grower named Dr. Ross, and he taught us all these different things. And we have a video of that too on the We Uplift the World YouTube channel. But we're able to use video to demystify these things that people thought were true but actually weren't true. So we look at video as it's a tool of truth, an instrument of truth, if you will. And this whole process of working with these students and teaching them these different things allowed us to do that. And it really helped us realize that video can be an entry point into any subject. So if you're trying to teach your students math, if you're trying to teach public speaking, if you're trying to teach social studies, have your students make a video about that. And this could be your kids, this could be your family, this could be your employees. It doesn't have to just be educator-work relationship. Anybody that you're working with in this virtual landscape, use video as a tool to uplift and educate them, but also to create more freedom and a more direct way of expressing oneself. We talked about video resumes, as a cool way of showing who you are instead of just a normal paper resume. Give me a video interview, So that takes us to our next point, which is video as a second language. Through doing all these workshops with all these different communities over the past year, all over the US, we learned that this is going to be the most marketable skill that students can have moving forward. 2020 and beyond. Yes, it's great to know English, French, Spanish, Mandarin. It's great. But if you know video, you can create something that speaks to every single person in those demographics. You can speak Mandarin, you can speak English, you can speak Chinese, you can speak French, all through the visuals of a camera. You can communicate these messages to people that speak these languages. So we said video has now become another way of speaking to people that is independent of origin. So this term of video as a second language is something that we're now developing complete courses around to show students not just how to make a film, but how to make film work for you. How can you, regardless of what you want to do, how can you take the creation of film, the sharing of film, the repurposing of film and video to create new opportunities for yourself, right? And that's what we really went deep in on with this video as a second language concept. And we're continuing to look at this as something that can be more widespread and put into like school districts and be more widely accepted. Because we really believe that if students know how to make videos, they can create things for themselves. They can go out and get jobs for other companies creating content. They can help their church, their local community, their reservation, whatever it is. They can help to preserve culture, to tell truths, to tell stories, to market products, and have fun, most of all, which is like our number one rule. Okay, another thing that we learned about is true emotional connection. It's kind of hard to do over Zoom, right? But a couple pointers, anybody that's taking notes, there's a couple things that I learned about developing emotional connection while doing this. And one is energy. energy levels got to be high. There has to be a high level of excitement and enthusiasm all the time, because it's easy to get lulled to sleep and fall asleep on this Zoom. So we have to find ways of getting students awake by connecting. And that can be done with just the passion in our voice, the eye contact, the volume. But most specifically, I find it's really important to ask specific questions. What questions are you asking the people that you're talking to through the video? Is it more formality? Is it more, hey, how's the weather today? Or are you really trying to get to know that person or asking them something that's relevant to them? What's the most exciting thing you did this week? Put it in the chat, share it. But now I'm asking you something that's specific. You know, everybody else is not going to have the same response to that question as they would if I asked, how's the weather? I'm asking you about your week because I care about you. You know, and I'm asking you in front of everybody else on the video or on the Zoom call, how is your week? What's the most exciting thing you did? Let's talk about it, share it, right? That's an entry point into an emotional connection. And then I don't stop there. I'll go a little bit deeper. Oh, really? What was exciting about that? Why did you enjoy that? Oh, really? So you really enjoy playing tennis. So now we know something new. By asking that second layer question, we know something new about that person. And now that person feels that I'm invested in them and they're more invested in me now because I took the time to care and ask the right question. So true emotional connection through video, it's important to ask the right questions. Make sure that you're listening too. I think that's something that, because we may want to get over with this meeting, we may want to get on to the next thing. It's real quick and easy to just try to respond and get somebody out the way and shut them up. But especially with young people, it's very important to listen. When you're talking over video, FaceTime, whatever it is, just look at them and listen to what they're saying and be patient. You know, so I'm learning that patience is a huge part of emotional connection and giving people genuine and sincere concern and interest, right? Be interested in others, be selfless, because every single interaction is a learning opportunity. And when I realized that, it allowed me to take my emotional connections on every single basis to a deeper level. You know, everything is a learning and growing opportunity. And also, I have an opportunity to maybe uplift this person. I could say something to them that can make them feel better. You know, for me, a person like me, that's my mission. I love that. I love making people feel good. That's like my most selfish habit, is making other people feel good because it makes me feel so good selfishly, you know? But like, think about that and think about, as we're engaging, how can I take it a step further to make sure that this person knows I care about them and I care about what they want in their life. I care about what they want to create, and I'm going to do what I can to help them create that in this short time we have together, right? So that's an important piece, true emotional connection. Next piece, the power of teamwork. Look at our awesome team here. You got Sam and Aubrey, we got Leachy, we got Steve Lamorte, we got Ron Dawson, we got some of our students here. So this picture on the bottom here, this is a picture of our first workshop day in Compton. And that's Billy and Ramses, a couple of our students there, learning about how to make an interview. So those two students are interviewing each other. We showed them how to set up the microphone. We showed them basic cutting and editing techniques in LumaFusion, which is the software that we were using for mobile. And the great thing about LumaFusion, a lot of you know, it works really well with Final Cut Pro. I think Final Cut Pro is like LumaFusion's big brother. But LumaFusion is really great because it works on, it's like the Final Cut Pro for your phone, basically. It gives you a lot of the capabilities as Final Cut, but you can use it on phone and iPad. And our students got really excited about that because it just took their imaginations to the next level. So we started by having them work together and learn editing and shooting together. And then, of course, when we were in quarantine, they couldn't be together. But I just wanted to say that getting them started off on a tone of teamwork and collaboration allowed us to get to a point in the first week that got us really comfortable with the students and got everybody wanting to share more. So I want to talk too about I talked earlier about like, it's important to work with teams, but knowing what you need and communicating that is hugely important too. That's another thing I learned during this process of working with with video especially, we have to over communicate with our team, and we have to let people know what we are expecting and also what's working and what's not working, so vocalizing, speaking up. I know we've done so many iterations of these workshops and had so many videos, but we were cutting some of the trailers, and I know that in cutting some of the trailers, there were certain scenes that some of the team members wanted and some of the team members didn't. But working on Frame IO, at the end of the day, we're able to solicit enough questions and ask the right questions that we make sure that everybody on the team is okay with what the final cut's going to look like, because we all communicated and over communicated what needs to be here to make this do what we needed to do. And that allows us to put out better content that everybody's happy with and feels well represented, because that's another important thing, is like you have to know your team, understand your team, make sure your team feels represented, make sure everybody on the team feels heard, make sure everybody on the team feels respected and appreciated as well. But I know that video made this collaboration and it makes all these collaborations so much easier. And then having a strong team that knows what they're doing, that's a key too. So one of my points here is just invest in yourself by investing in others. I know for a fact that, the people that are responsible for helping me get to where I am today, they would be remiss if I didn't give back to the younger generation. I understand that I'm only in the position I'm in partly because of hard work, but really because other people invested in me, whether that's parents, coaches, teachers, mentors, peers, younger people. We Make Movies invested in us. They invested in We Uplift the World. So we're investing back in them. And it's a mutual relationship of beautiful teamwork that allows us all to create new things that we want to create. So, that's just a point I want to leave, is invest in others by investing in yourself. And what is your why? Okay. So this is a huge question that I think should be like a daily practice. And I put this here because I want people to consider a couple different things about why you get up in the morning. Something that we did with our students is this Ikigai exercise. And it's a Japanese concept. It originates in Okinawa, Japan, and it means your reason for being. So in preparing for delivering this to the students, we gave them this as an assignment, and their job was to fill out the Ikigai, but make a video about it. So answer all these questions, write them down, and then go make a video kind of presenting back to yourself what your findings were. But we found that the best tool for like getting to the bottom of this, what is your why, was video. So if you're, and this is an activity I'm going to give you guys later, but if you're talking to yourself, some people talk about mirroring or looking in the mirror and doing affirmations as a powerful way of transforming subconscious beliefs or instilling greater confidence in oneself. It's true. It really works. So I think that something we learned here is that video can be a great tool in rehearsing your why and making sure that it's like still valid. So something that we had the students do is explain why they wanted to do what they want to do. And then you'll realize that after you watch that video and listen to yourself, you may change your mind, you may be more affirmed, but just that process of being self-reflexive and using video to listen to ourselves think, to rehearse things. I personally practiced this speech in front of the camera, recorded it, and got to listen back. I know playing sports, when I was playing football in college, our coaches were huge on watching game film. We have to watch the opponent. We have to watch ourselves. We have to understand everything that we're doing right and wrong. It wouldn't be possible without video. So this activity in particular is something that I want everybody to think about on a daily basis. And some of you may already do this, but think about explaining to yourself in a video why you're doing what you do. Why are you getting up in the morning? And are you on track? And are you fulfilled? I think these are important questions that can lead us to creating a higher level of fulfillment and a higher level of happiness based on the answers we give ourselves. And this is the Ikigai. So it's basically what you love, and then what you're good at, what you can be, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. So it's here, 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 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And whatever is in the middle is considered your ikigai. So we did this with all of our students, and this is the process I explained where they were deciding. Some of them changed their majors, some of them just completely changed their ideas of what they thought was possible for themselves in terms of a career. Or, a lot of them were high school seniors, and now we've gotten. So let me add this too. One thing that we made very important with the Earth Project is that every single participant gets paid at the end of the program to create professional content. And there's a couple of reasons we did this. We wanted to prove that we're not just showing you how to be sustainable, but we're going to help make you sustainable by giving you a check to create content. So all of our students got paid to create 1-minute ads or videos about their experience with certain products that were our sponsors or provided by our sponsors, whether that's LumaFusion, Shure, OWC. They were creating these different videos about the products. So think about that. Think about how we were able to create multiple wins. The company sponsors some small monetary amount, much less than they would normally spend on a marketing campaign or influencer marketing or a billboard. That then allows us to pay the tuition of the students, put them through the program, get them all the materials every week that they need to make this a hands-on engaging experience, and also get them a check at the end of the program for creating a video. In return, that company not only did some corporate social responsibility, but that company also gets 10 to 20 videos that were created by students using their products, giving real life tutorials or explanations or testimonials about whatever it is that they're using. That's extremely valuable. We found that that's really valuable for the companies. It's organic marketing content. It's really valuable for the students because they get paid work and they now know that it's possible for them to make a living doing what they want to do, and it can be fun. And it's beneficial for us as educators because we're fully fulfilled by giving the students that opportunity, and we're able to be sustained by these companies that believe in our mission and what we're doing. So, that why doing this ikigai and asking these questions is what led me to start We Uplift the World. And it's what led me and my partners, all of us, to create this Earth Project. Is just keep asking why, keep asking. And I get up in the morning and I write in my journal, what is my why? What do I want today? Every day. And I feel like the more I do it, it keeps me more focused, more excited, more enthusiastic about what I'm doing. And I know that I'm creating my reality. Life is not happening to me, it's happening for me. And I'm creating what's happening with intention and planning, right? And there's always going to be a curveball like coronavirus or something, but you got to deal with the swings, okay? All right.
That was such a great speech, Mr. Bijan. This is Angela just popping in. I've done the poll. You have it for, another 20 more minutes for questions and answers and everything. Thank you so much for your motivation and all your paying back you do to everyone, paying it forward. Your stuff is so inspirational and it makes you really think and it makes you want to go forward in this world and do something good and help other people. We love it.
Thank you.
I believe everyone's filled out the poll. If not, if you don't mind filling it out, and Mr. Bijan, I'll let it go back to you. You still have another 20 minutes or so of the questions and answers if you want to. And thank you so much for your session. It was a wonderful, wonderful session. Love the motivation. Love the message. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angela.
Bye.
All right, we'll be wrapping it up very soon here. Okay. So this is an activity that I think will be very helpful for everyone on the call. You don't have to do it right now, but take a screenshot of this and do it when you have some time. The more we do stuff like this, these kind of reassessments of who we are and why we're doing what we do, I think the more aligned we are, the more spiritually fulfilled we'll be, the more attractive that we will be in terms of attracting opportunities and people that we want in our life. And we're also going to put out a better energy because we're coming from a place of intention. So here's an activity. Now that you've reaffirmed your why, write it on paper. It's very important to write it down and put it into a tangible format that you can look at. And then I want you to do what we did with the students. Record a video of yourself explaining your why. It could be really quick, 30 seconds, a minute, it doesn't have to be too crazy, but just say, this is my why. This is why it's important to me. Present to yourself and create that video, save it. And I want you to watch it whenever you need an uplift or a boost or a reminder. Okay. Taking the time to do this can be very valuable for the future. If you just take 5 minutes and create one of these, and then set a reminder on your calendar to just watch my why, or look at the why video, or what is my why. Just set these reminders, maybe once a month, once a week. It's going to tremendously help you build into who you're becoming much faster. And again, make you kind of attract more of what you want by just being intentional about these things. And it's going to help you create ways to get there faster as well. And I'm speaking from experience. So this is all that I want you to do, and we're wrapping it up here. So if anybody has any questions or anything, now's the time to ask. But I want you to create that video. I want you to watch it. I want you to remind yourself of why you're doing what you do. And also want you to know that you're great. You can do anything. You can be anything and have anything in this world that you want. So be encouraged. Keep using video to remind yourself of what you need, to remind others, to inspire people. If you're feeling brave, you can share this why video with your family, with your spouse, with your kids, with yourself, with whoever, with a friend, or you don't have to share it at all if it's personal, but do it and say it and get it out, and then watch yourself and feel how empowered you are. Okay. That's my presentation. I will stop the share now and see what kind of questions we got. Sam says every artist needs to do Ikigai. Definitely.
Hi, Bijan. I just wanted to throw in, did you see the Q&A question? There is someone in there there's a question there from Sam.
Oh, yes. Where have you run programs so far this year? We have run programs in Compton, California. We have run programs in Chicago, in New York, in St. Louis, in Minnesota, in Kansas. And we have Inglewood. And out here in LA, we have Inglewood coming up. And we're going to be doing a workshop series in Inglewood with all their high school students, as well as their K-8 students. And we're going to be building a media workshop out for Inglewood. A couple other things I want to mention too before I wrap. I just want to thank our sponsors for the Earth Project and all the people that make it possible. I want to thank OWC. I want to thank TSMA. That's the Social Media Advantage, a really great social media marketing agency that we work with, and they help our students out a lot too. LumaTouch, LumaFusion, and last but not least, Ceremonic Microphones. Want to give you guys a huge shout out and thank you for sponsoring everything that we've done and everything that's going on here with the Final Cut Pro Global Virtual Summit. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without good partners and good sponsors. So back to my point about collaboration and teamwork, I want to remind everybody to let the world know who you are and what you want, and the world is ready to bring it to you. And the more we can collaborate and do that, the better off we will all be. And video is a huge part of making that possible. So thank you, Final Cut Pro. Thank you, Apple. Thank you, everyone, for attending. I'm very grateful, and I want you all to have a great week. Oh, we got some more questions. Tim David said, do you think your projects would be as successful without video? How critical is video to you? Absolutely not, Tim. The projects would not have been successful without video. It was essential. It allowed for the engagement to be in real time. I think there's something about a live class versus just watching a video recording. The ability to just have somebody look you in your eye or be able to call on you or ask a question is hugely important, and it creates a deeper emotional connection, which allows you to remember things more. We all remember the teachers and coaches that we had a really strong connection with, or that actually did something for us or made it personal. So we try to do that as much as possible, and that's only possible with video. So yeah, hugely important. And then Chris Northcross says, can you talk about the process of building your curriculum when you started? Absolutely. So Chris, when we started the curriculum, we had to look at the need of the students we were serving. And that's what brought us to this idea of sustainability needing to be a focus. We saw that there was a need for nutrition education. We saw that there was a need for entrepreneurship. We saw that there was a need for expression of truth, because there's a lot of media coming out about these particular areas, whether it's Compton, Inglewood, Chicago, the Bronx. A lot of it is negative media, and a lot of it's coming from people that may not even live in that place. But we got these students sharing things that were true to where they're from, because we said we want to create a curriculum that will promote truth and that will promote a sustainability of truth. What does that mean on a deeper level? We want students to be able to do what really matters to them and be good at it, not be good at a fake thing, not be good at something that doesn't matter, which sometimes school can force young people to do, is take to things or say that they like things that maybe it's not necessarily what they want to do, or be pushed into careers, majors, or areas of focus that aren't what they want. So we wanted to create a curriculum that was like kind of devoid of that. So we really wanted to focus on the basics. We just wanted students to like master the basics of certain things: responsibility and accountability, the basics of editing a film, the basics of doing an interview, the basics of telling a story, using your imagination, the basics of doing things the right way and following directions, the basics of cooking, just cooking basic meals. Didn't even use any heat, it was all cold, raw, vegan meals. But like, how can we take this idea of mastering the basics and put it into a number of areas where we see that these students have a need, and we created a curriculum based off of those needs. Okay, Anders Utterstrom says, I will watch this again. Very interesting. Thank you. Thank you, Anders. I appreciate it. So yeah, we got some more questions here. If anybody or more chat box space, if anybody has any other questions. Thank you, Bridget, for your commentary. I really appreciate your support. You're the greatest. But yeah, that was great. I'm very grateful. That was awesome. Hopefully you guys learned something and feel inspired to use video to transform your life and the lives of others. Try to find a way that it's not being used and put it out into the world, because we need it. And video is the future of education. Thank you.